Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just think I'd like to do a guitar lesson. It just randomly came up to me to do it. I hadn't planned it at all. Oh, I forgot to put my whammy bar in. But I figured, what the heck, it updates it for me too. The state things updates it for me, and maybe it'll help you guys too learn some stuff. If not, sorry, and don't watch. I think I don't need to comment. In fact, never commented this. I think it's funny how a lot of people on YouTube say, please like and subscribe. And I've never said that. I've never said like and subscribe one time on my videos. I think that's interesting. I'm not saying that now either. So that's still interesting. So a guitar lesson, I think, is in order. I think it's a good thing right now. I switched over to maybe more the middle of the room, the living room, because the pillow points out in a certain way where I'm better over here. Plus I have more room. It seems like I was off to the side. Now I'm more like in the center of the room. I feel better about that. And so let's do this is a new strap I got from Bertrand's because my album was getting weak. It was starting to come off easily. And then this is a scarf I have two scarves. This is one I like the most. The other one's cool too, though. I put it around there, so people wonder why I don't trip on it. Well, it'd be really hard to trip on it. It doesn't even reach the floor. I don't know what I would trip on. How I would trip on it, I don't know, because it doesn't reach the floor. But thanks for the concern. I do appreciate your concern. It's from "Break Me" by Nirvana. Oh, it's a good tone, actually. I want to comment on the Jackson. I love that people like the Jackson, and I like it for a special effect, but I like the Gems better. They just feel better to me. They're lighter for one thing. They're thinner for one thing. Thinner on the neck. The neck is thinner this way, and it's got the monkey grip, and I just like them better. But I appreciate the love of the Jackson too. The Jackson also. That's because it is a good guitar. It's a great guitar. Just won't ever be my favorite brand. I'm never going to be more of a Jackson player than an Ibanez player. I'm Ibanez first. Jackson second. Yeah, I'll go for that. Tuning up is very important. Tune the bottom strings a little flat. Tune the top strings a little sharp. Marilyn gave me a tip about this. He said a similar thing. He said Eddie Van Halen always tunes the B string a little flat. I agree. It's a good sound to do that. See, I tuned it flat there. It sounded better, huh? Actually, that's out of range. I should retune. I should unlock the lucky nut because it's out of range. And then sometimes I do the fourth fret trick with just the second to the first, just the third to the second string. That's a tricky part of tuning to me. Because you have to have a perfect ear for the major third, and I can sometimes do better than I allow myself to do or really do, but sometimes I just cheat and do the fourth fret trick as opposed to open. It's a major 6 sound. Hear that? Here's a dominant 7 sound. Here's a major 7 sound. It's chromatic. That's an A with a F sharp at the top, A with a G at the top, A with a G sharp at the top. A, it's a 6. The G, it's a dominant 7. The G sharp, it's a major 7. Anyway, I learned I learned a new chord from doing a weight. He does. This is an A major, but he doesn't really go to a new root. He goes to an A dominant 7. But it's going from one chord to another, but it's the same root. It's just changing voicings and adding the G note, which is the minor 7th of the A, which makes it an A. Technically, it's an A dominant 7th without the root, but the root's there as the third that was just played. I like that chord. It's got a neat sound to it. A major, A7, no 3, no third. D major, G minor sus2, or G minor add 9, not really sus2, D minor add 9. Anyway, implies resolution to the A, but never does it at the end of the song, just leaves it hanging. So what am I going to talk about? That was a little bit, not, little stuff there. Think. I like Theodore Barda's use of the range of the guitar. He doesn't just play in one area, like a lot of guitarists do, including myself sometimes. He spreads it out in wide, leaps in range. Like in the Wait solo, that's up an octave already right there. Is what's distortion on? He starts up an octave, and then that's so high up in range, you got to go to the first string to really do it comfortably. It's a 5 to 6 in A major, by the way. Then he does a cool lick. If you're not careful, like I wasn't at first, you go so wrong. First of all, if this is with a chord, it's not the right chord. He plays the G instead of the A, and then instead of playing the C sharp, which is the major third, he plays a D, which is the sus4 or 4th degree, which makes it a A7 sus4 chord, not an A major triad. So if you play this, you're so screwed. It's actually G, D, E, A. It's still an A chord, but it doesn't have a major third in it, and it has a minor 7th and a 4th. Ergo, since the major third is implied but not stated, but not played, it's a dominant 7 sus4. If you wanted to call it a minor, it could be a minor 7 sus4, but I'm not going to do that. That major third is implied by the harmonies, and it's a solo in A major. So to get that, he doesn't just do this. He doesn't just sweep that. He does it on tapping wise. So for the G, he plays the open C note. Then the 5th above for the G. And then a whole step above that for the E, and then a perfect 4th above that for the A. So he's going so not an A major triad yet; it's still in the key of A major. Then he goes pretty lick. Now that G A B C D. See what that sucker is. Let's see. That implies A mixolydian, which is still an A major sounding mode. It's in its major scale with the flat 7, with a minor 7. So it's a mixolydian mode, acceptable in a key of A major. Then he goes 4 to 5 with the D to E. Then it's tapping like this. He goes something like how's it go? So now it's more A major, but tapping wise. Then he skips to the high E, another wide stretch of an octave on one string. Then the major third, which is C sharp, kind of going to D. Then he plays D Lydian-ish when he goes. Very D Lydian-like. In fact, if it were just that, you could call it D Lydian, but either way, D Lydian is in the key of A major. Then back to A major lick, A, B, and C sharp. Then C sharp D. That's to G implies A mixolydian once again. Then just the D, C sharp and D. Then all the way down here. the second version of a D major triad, which is the 4 chord in A major. And then some play around, just tapping, pretty ambiguous actually at this point. You just listen, something like that. Then he goes, come on. That's just an A major lick. Then a major pentatonic lick. D major pentatonic lick. Then C sharp to D, major third to the 4th type of end. Then back to the song. It's all over the place with the range, and I like that. You've heard me play it on the song. I'm not going to repeat it right now. So there's that. I love the riff, and so far I've done a chord, a lick. A lick or solo, and now a riff. For weight, it has an A chord, A power chord. Hear that? What is that? I had to think about it for a second here. This is the major third in flat 7, minor 7 of A, ergo A dominant 7th. If you take those together, it's A dominant 7th. Then what does he do next? He does this. That's the major third and minor 7th of G dominant 7. So it's basically saying A dominant 7, G dominant 7, then back to A dominant 7. Tricky progression. It's very, very bluesy, very jazzy almost. This A, let's talk about this. This A dominant 7th implies A mixed Lydian. But the G mixed dominant 7th implies A Aeolian, which is 2 flats away from A mixed Lydian. So weird. It's like the old progression, like this. When you go, well, this part is A mixed Lydian. This part is A Aeolian, because F major to D major is A Aeolian, whereas G major to A major is A mixed Lydian, all in the same riff. So there's precedent for it in rock and roll. But it's a cool thing that Vito did. So that's basically it's cool. What's that? That's D major. So D major. So it's the whole thing so far. A7. When I say 7, I mean dominant 7. A7, D7, D major, which implies implies most likely it could be A mixed Lydian, because 1 to 5, A or A Dorian, I would think. I'll go with I like Dorian for that. So we played A mixed Lydian, A Aeolian, now A Dorian. Those are the 3 main rock modes: Dorian, Aeolian, and mixed Lydian, used often in the same song, like in Third Stone from the Sun by Jimi Hendrix Experience. The whole thing implies E Aeolian, E mixed Lydian, and E Dorian all in one song. Very cool though in rock. So then he does a tricky thing that if you don't have a good ear, you're gonna miss this. Then he goes, what's that? That's D minor. So it's D major to D minor, just like the progression was the ultimate progression. So he's going D major to D minor. D minor now implies A, I'm going to say A Aeolian more likely, A Aeolian. So coolness there. Then that's the D, that makes it a D minor add 9, like I had in the beginning chords. That chord is D minor add 9, whereas this is D minor D add 9. That whole thing implies D minor add 9. Very cool. So the whole thing harmonically is A7, G7, A7, D major, D minor, with added 9. Think of a combination of a D sus2 and a D minor that both played at the same time. You could go like this. You could go. He goes. Yeah. Very cool. And then it's on to. Then he goes this. He goes like this. He goes. Simple but cool. I left that out of my take on my song. I wanted to play this. I let that ring longer. But if you do it quicker, you go. Typical, regular A rock lick. Then it's. Why is that so cool? Because that implies A mixolydian. It's the third, major third, second, and minor seventh. Implying A mixolydian. Now the guy's a genius because then he goes, "What's that?" Now you're out of A. You're not in the key of. That's not an A chord anymore. If it were an A chord, it would be weird. It would be a major third, a second, and a major sixth. Not enough to make it an A chord. But if you play a D, it's a D major lick. D Ionian, which implies a mixolydian. We're good. Hear that? We just instead of playing D, he plays C sharp and B. Instead, yeah. That's D. That implies D major, which again implies A mixolydian, or even could apply A Dorian. Could even apply A Dorian too. But whatever. Then brilliant move. He goes. Hear that? The C sharp goes up to D this time. This time it's B and F. If you put that in a different way, it's D diminished, so with a root on D is a D Dorian lick. D Dorian, which implies Aeolian. Ooh, he's all over the place. Then back to the cool rock riff. You don't get much cooler rock and roll than that in my book. In fact, I did it longer in my take because I love that sound. Love it. So enough about weight. But that's a cool song, no? Cool song to start a lesson on. What have I been learning lately that's cool and all that good stuff? I know I like to pick. Ingrid Malmsteen talks about alternate picking, and he acts like there's one way per person, but it's different for every person. I take it a step further, and I do it different ways. Ingrid did a great lesson though on loud guitar. I only heard a clip of it, but maybe I've heard the whole thing one time. But maybe I've heard it a couple of times. I don't have it on thing. Maybe I do. But he talks about alternate picking, and he says that there's different styles out there. Like Al Di Meola plays with a hand totally free. Different sound, certain sound to that. Whereas some people play with the hand on the bridge. Different sound, right? And he acts like it's one or the other because he says the open hand doesn't work for him, but works for Al. But so be it. But it doesn't work for him. He plays differently with a hand on the bridge. I say try them all, do them all. Michelangelo does it with not the hand on the bridge, and not just plain open, but with 3 fingers or 2 fingers on the pick guard, and then he just goes. That's one of my favorites. I love that. You're anchored, but yet you're free. Different sound again. by doing all of them, you get different sounds at different times when you want that sound at a different time. That's Michelangelo approach. Al Di Meola. And regular Ingrid Malmsteen. Different sounds and different. It's fun to switch it up. You know, it's fun to do that rather than just say I do it like this and Al does it like that. I'd like to do all of them. So this is me maybe, but hey, that is me. Yeah, that's cool. I think. Tapping, you know, Eddie Van Halen, great, second best rock guitarist ever. He held the pick between the second finger and thumb, so he would tap with his first finger. I almost want to do that, but I don't need to mimic Eddie. He did that. He's great. I go ahead though, but then you could be like Paul Gilbert and Tony McAlpine and switch. When you go to tap, you have to take your pick and switch to that, and then tap with your first finger and then switch back. That's horrible to me. Not that they're bad, but that's a lot of finger. I'm just going to drop my pick, and so I don't want to drop my pick, so I keep it steady with the thumb and first finger, and then I tap with my second and third fingers, a la maybe George Lynch, and most notably Steve Vai do it, and even Ingrid Malmsteen when Ingrid Malmsteen taps, he does it that way too. By the way. This is, you know, it's no big deal. These are strong fingers. They're okay to tap with. Different sound than tapping with the first finger. But I like it. And then what's next? What else to talk about? Another thought I had. I don't tap with the pinky, not necessary. Now the fourth finger on the left hand is important to use. It's a different sound if you use it versus if you don't. If I play with the pinky, it sounds different than playing without it. That's a different sound than this. And I like the pinky sound better, and you get more fingers involved and more range and more control and more out of your bang for your buck, to quote Bump and Grind from Eat 'em and Smile. More value, bang for the buck. Maybe wrong, but I think she kind of likes you. Think quick or you're out of luck. You know, I'm not going to go on about it. You know, I think it's F sharp, so whatever. Might have been the wrong key there. Might have been right. I don't know. I didn't check. Yeah, use your pinky and even bend with it. It's a little clumsy. But it sounds cool to bend with that pinky, with the pinky. I think it's cool. Anything else? Now, I was just given a clue that while Kurt Cobain played left-handed, but he did a lot of upstrokes when he strummed his chords. That's important to sound different. It's cool to sound if you play with upstrokes instead of downstrokes. Like when you go to play what's it called, Lithium, do upstrokes. I'm not going to go on about it. I'm not really that much of a Kurt Cobain fan, but he did invent grunge. Everybody else just copied him. Different thing going. Different sound to get upstrokes, which gives you more of a down motion with the notes, because upstrokes go down in pitch with the chord, whereas downstrokes go up in pitch, so it's depressing. To go down with the notes instead of up. This is more bright. This is more dark. And he did the upstrokes left, but he did play left-handed. But you can do that with lead. You can think of, well, lead doesn't. Notes don't really have a change in range when you play up versus down, because you just play one note at a time. But there's a different sound to an upstroke than a downstroke. This is a downstroke. This is an upstroke. Sounds different, doesn't it? This sounds different from, if you start with an upstroke, sounds different than starting with a downstroke, because the polarity is reversed. Down, up, down, as opposed to up, down, up, sounds different. Down, down. The down, my ex-mentor, Brian Chapman, said that downstrokes get picked up by the pickups as positive charge, and upstrokes get picked up by the pickups as negative charge, hence the difference in sound between the downstroke and upstroke. It sounds different to go than it does to go all all downstrokes or all upstrokes sound different than alternate picking. And I like the sound of alternate picking, as does Chris Brian Chapman. So I like that sound better than just all down or all up. When Paul Gilbert used the drill, he only got one direction because the drill doesn't go back and forth. It's a different sound than if you get alternate picking, so it's imperfect. But hey, that's cool of him to make a drill with a good pick on it, and that's kind of cool, actually, I think. Now, what else? I talked about weight, and I talked about some technique. What else? I kind of picked up on the Vito Bratta thing with the range. I like to play with range sometimes, but in my own style. I'll just go all over the place on the neck, which is a kind of a cool thing I got from Vito. I do it on my last video. I called it cracked. Sometimes I play it all over the neck. I like that. I like that effect and sound. How about I want to dissect a lick that I don't think gets much attention, and maybe never has gotten attention, but I don't know. I don't know that it hasn't. But in the tapping section of Satch Boogie, where Joe Satriani goes, that lick doesn't get much attention. He's doing the tap. He's going like this. But it starts like this. He goes, that's Lydian, then Dorian, then Aeolian sus4, or just Aeolian. Then he goes. Doesn't get much attention. People don't talk about that lick enough. Go slowly. It's an old Eddie Van Halen lick, like in Spanish Fly. I never play it like I should. I should play more of Spanish Fly than I do. Notice how quickly I knew that from years ago, even though I had never practiced it hardly. But Satch takes it and goes up chromatically 3 frets, and then back down 2 frets. What is that harmonically? Does anybody know? Does anybody care? Well, the first position is an A sus4. Then when you go up to here, your open string is an A, but you're going to A sharp, so that's an A sharp major 7 sus4. So now you're playing this kind of thing. No, you're an A, major 7, sorry. You're an A, so you have a major 7 and a sus4. Which makes sense because you're playing. Oh, I did say A sharp. The A stays the same, but you're now playing A sharp sus4. With the A makes it an A sharp major 7 sus4 because A is the major 7th degree in A sharp. Call it B flat if you like. Call it B flat major 7 sus4. I like that sound. Then he goes up to here. Now he's playing a B sus4 over A. Voila, that's your Vito lick. It's a B 7 sus4. Because A becomes the minor 7th of the B, and the B has a sus4 in it. So it's B dominant 7 sus4, just B7 sus4. Finally goes up to here. Now that's a C sus4 over A. That would be a C sus4. You could call it a C major 6 sus4. The 6 is here, which is A. You're in the C now. So C sus4 with an A is C major 6 sus4 because A becomes a major 6 or is the major 6 of C, and the C is a sus4 chord. Okay. Then back down to the B7 sus4 to the B flat major 7 sus4 to the A sus4. A sus4, B flat major 7 sus4, B7 sus4, B major 6 sus4. Sorry, C. I goofed that up. A sus4, B flat major 7 sus4, B7 sus4, C major 6 sus4, B7 sus4, B flat major 7 sus4, A sus4. Has that like ever been analyzed by anybody? I don't know, but I just did. Cool enough for me. We just think of it as chromatically, but it has a harmony implied by all that. For instance, you wouldn't want to go up any fret higher. It might sound bad. I've never done it. Let's try it. That doesn't sound as good. If you go up that far, up here. Yeah, that would be weird. That would be a C sharp sus4 over A. A becomes the flat 6 in C sharp. That's not a chord, not an acceptable chord. You really don't have a chord with a flat 6 and a sus4. This becomes another chord. It becomes a minor chord up a fourth. So weirdness going on there. Even calling it a C sharp. In this case, this would be C sharp sus4 flat 6 is just F sharp minor sus2. So we just don't do that. don't play a chord that should be a root, but really is another root, and you're confusing everybody, including yourself. At least I will. Yeah, so there's that. I analyzed that on my walk today. I figured that out a little bit. Anything else while I'm here? I like when play. I think there's 3 categories of stuff on guitar. There's licks, riffs, and chords, or chord progression and chords. Songs are mostly chords and riffs. Leads are mostly licks and riffs. So rhythm guitar playing is chords and riffs. Lead guitar playing is licks and riffs. Riffs are in the middle. Riffs are not fast licks. And they're not chords, they're somewhere in the middle, you know, like a black dog, that's a riff. It's not a lead because it's not just a fast thing, and it's not a chord progression, it's a riff. Or oh, sorry. I love that. I should do that more often, eh? Heartbreaker. I love that. Jimmy Page wrote that. Brilliant. The Vito Bratta thing. This is a riff. That's a chord, but that's riffs. Oh, come on. That's riff. And I'm getting into writing riffs lately. You know, I'm not unable to write riffs. I'm able to if I want. I'm not going to do it right now, but I can actually write riffs. I used to just do licks and chords, and now I do licks, chords, and riffs. So as far as original stuff goes, doing make up a riff right now. All right, let's do it. Let's see, what do we do? Let's do a riff. Ready? May have chords involved, but let's try it. Let's tune first. I goofed it. Try it again. I just wrote that, never heard it, never played it. Never heard it before or played it before. It's catchy, eh? Just wrote that. So, do that too. Don't just play chords and notes. Chords and licks. Play riffs too. Now that's the original riff. Maybe I'll make a song out of it. Who knows? It sounds good to me. Add to it, maybe. You could go like this. Sounds cool to me. I like it. Just make a chord out of the notes instead of playing just the notes and play chords. Just moving the background as the second part. You can even go. Make it as sick as you want. Anyway, I just did that, so I hope that's cool. Maybe I also said there's a difference between picking one note at a time and doing multiple notes at the same time. Multiple notes at once with alternate picking. That's different from different technique a little bit. But there's that. Anything else while I'm here? Anything else to think of? Let me think. Any thoughts? This is some scale work. I know scales can be thought of as boring, but they're really not. That's A melodic minor. Or like this. Or like this. linear that way, or sorry. We thought of it as a Dorian with a major seventh, because Dorian is this. Make it a major seventh. We thought of as a major third, as a major scale or Ionian mode with a flat third. Here's Ionian. It's Ionian now, A Ionian with a flat third, or minor third. That's cool. And then think of it harmonically too. An A Dorian is A minor, D major, no, D major, E minor. So A minor, D major, and E minor, you have A Dorian. They make the dominant chord, which is E, a major chord instead of a minor chord. You have a melodic minor now. As opposed to A Dorian, which has the E minor. That's A Dorian in E melodic minor. It's that. But obviously, or not, maybe not obviously, but you also can start with A major, which is A major, D major, E major. Make the A major and A minor. I have A melodic minor, like you did when you took the A Dorian and made it an A melodic minor by making an E major chord or raising the seventh, i.e., and the same thing as with A major or Ionian mode, major scale Ionian mode, with a flat third makes the minor triad a minor, that makes A triad a minor triad, which makes it A melodic minor instead of A major or A Ionian. So, and that's harmonically where the notes come from. Though stoically and technically you could say that the notes make the chords as easily as you can say the chords make the notes, but it depends on how you look at it. I think chords came first because chords are from the overtone series and notes not so much. Start with the overtone series. Yeah, let's do B now. B, that's 1. 2 is an octave above, which is B. 3 is a fifth above, F sharp. 4 is a fourth above that, which is B. And then 5 is a major third above that, which is D sharp. 6 is a major is a perfect fifth or minor third above that D sharp, which is F sharp, and 7 is out of tune. 7 is between an F sharp, a G sharp, and an A, but it's neither. So you take the 7th one out, and then the 8th one is a B note again, which turns out to be 3 octaves below, 3 octaves above the B that you started on. So the first octave is just an octave. Second octave is an octave with a fifth major, perfect fifth to divide it. And that is dividing it between a perfect fifth and a perfect fourth. The third octave is another octave, but it's got the perfect fifth divided into a major third and a minor third. And then the perfect fourth again above that, which does not get divided by a major 6 or a minor 7th because that's out of tune. So the third octave becomes a first inversion of a major triad with voiced 1, 3, 5, and then 1 again. So you have, So that's your overtone. That's the overtone series, which makes a B major chord. Then you don't get scales from that until you take a B major chord, which is the 1 chord if you're in B. Then take it up a 4th to make a E major chord, and then take it up, and then make it from the B up a 5th to the F sharp major chord, and now you have D major, E major, F sharp major, which then finally then gives you a B major scale from all those notes. So when you do minor, B minor would, well, minor, let's do the overtone series. If I start with a B up here, I go down an octave, I get another B. That's down, I'll say 1/2 because it's an undertone. 1/2, 1/3 is a perfect 5th below that, which is an E note. 1/4 is another B below that, which is a perfect 4th below the E. So you have 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5 is a G note, which is a major 3rd below the B. 1/6 is an E, which is a 5th below the E. I mean the B. And then the 1/7 doesn't exist. It would be like a, what would it be? It would be a cross between a major 2nd and a minor 3rd of the B. It's neither though. Then again, 1/8 is a B, 3 octaves below the first B. So you have 1/1, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6. I played all that in A. I didn't mean to. Let's do it in B. B. Oh, okay. 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/8. So 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/8. But played that upwards because we don't do chords from the top down. We do them from the bottom up. Upward, that becomes B, E, G, B, then E, and then you had B. Yeah, you did. And then another B above that. So octave, 5th, 4th, major 3rd, minor 3rd, 4th, but going up, B, E, G, B, E, B, E, no, sorry, B, B. You don't have it, yeah. But going up, making it go up, that again gives you a E minor triad. This basically comes from the undertones of a B note. So the undertones of a B note make an E minor triad. So there you have an E minor triad. To make a natural minor scale, you play an E minor, which comes from the undertones of B note. So E minor, a 4th above is A minor. Back to the E minor, a 5th above that is a B minor. Total, all three is E minor, A minor, B minor. Now becomes, and then gives you E natural minor. Or E alien mode. But since that doesn't sound as strong as some of the other minor scales, and it also sounds like it could be mode of the major scale easily, often you make the 5th chord, 5th degree chord, which is B, instead of making it B minor, make it B major, which effectively raises the 7th in the E natural minor from D to D sharp, and suddenly, because D sharp is the major 3rd of B major, suddenly you have E harmonic minor. Notice how hard that is to do slowly like that? hard to do because slow is easy. Fast is not too hard. Mid-tempo is tough. I find it cool, but I don't do it all the time. But I like the mid-tempo effect, and then keep playing with even rhythm and keep going, like Paul Gilbert does in YRO from Racer X's first album, Street Lethal, which YRO stands for Yngwie ripoff because he feels like he got the idea from Yngwie Malmsteen, where he goes something like. Then get something fast again. That's not easy. And tough and cool thing to challenge yourself with. Love you guys, peace, love, rock and roll.